Hi, I've been asked to look at Philippians 1:15 to 17. So first I will read that out for you. Some indeed preach Christ from envy and rivalry, but others from goodwill. The latter do it out of love, knowing that I'm put here for the defence of the gospel. The former proclaim Christ out of rivalry, not sincerely, but thinking to afflict me in my imprisonment. And I've got the ESV Study Bible here, so I'll quickly read out what it says about these passages. The identity of those here who preach Christ from envy and rivalry is difficult to determine. They are clearly antagonistic to Paul, and thus one could imagine that they are the same Judaizing people mentioned in chapter 3. But it's hard to see how Paul could rejoice in the proclamation of something, namely a return to the old covenant, which he saw as a betrayal of the good news. See especially the letter to the Galatians. It seems more likely that these were other Christians who preached a generally sound gospel, but were personally at odds with Paul. They may have dismissed him because of his poor speaking abilities, see 1 Corinthians 1-2, or his constant suffering and weakness, see 2 Corinthians. Whatever their rationale, they were not motivated by love, but only by a desire to harm Paul in some way. But Paul, like Jesus, is not concerned for his own interests, see Philippians 2:4, and he will rejoice as long as the gospel is progressing. So from reading these verses, the main thing that comes across to me is motivation. What is my motivation for doing the things that I do in life? I think when I think about my motives, or when I think about motives in general, the first thing I tend to think is they're often mixed. They shouldn't be, but they often are. And this passage really encourages me to think through what are the key, what are my motivations for key things in my life. They should all be centered on Christ. But are they fully? So for example, I might think through what motivates me to get up in the morning, what motivates me to go to work, what motivates me to do well at work, what motivates me to socialise with my friends, or plan and budget my money, or what motivates me in the dreams and aspirations for my business in the future. I think these verses make me think through my motivations and make me think, what is the eternal perspective on all of this? What is actually important and what's not when it comes to my motivations, and also the things that I'm even thinking about and the things that I'm even doing. This life is temporary and eternity is going to be a lot longer. So in the light of that, assessing my own motives and assessing the things that I'm doing. And as I said previously, all of our motives should be found in Christ. And that's what I'll be praying for on the basis of these verses. And what's coming to my mind through reading these verses is that more and more my motivation will be centered on Christ, will be motivated by his word, by his gospel, by his mission. And that's the encouragement and the exhortation that I take from this passage. And I hope that's helpful for you this morning. God bless you.